Okay, so after we've had some technical difficulties this morning, but thankfully we were able to figure it out. This is Sam Beattie. Am I saying it right?
You are. That's perfect.
Yay! Okay, our fearless TFR group member friend, and our first guest. So welcome to the show, Sam.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thank you.
And as Lorene asked you before, let's ask you again. We want to hear about your journey and how you woke up, or I tend to call it like the mega awakening, where just everything clicks all at once. You go, holy shit, okay. We've been lied to about everything under the sun, and nothing is the way that they've told us, right? So we definitely want to hear your experience. So go.
Pretty much, I don't think I've ever been fully asleep. I think I've always been aware that I see things differently to everybody else, and I've been aware of a lot of things. I think that upgraded itself a little bit in 2012. And I woke up a little bit more and definitely started seeing just how corrupt the system was, and starting to believe how corrupt the system was and how backwards it was, and how why it doesn't all resonate with me. But I don't think I've ever been truly fully asleep. I've always seen things differently, always.
Yeah, I think so too. Me too, as a child, I knew there was something definitely wrong, and I knew that the way my parents were, there was something wrong. So I too, as a child, knew. I used to lay under the stars and wish that they would just come and get me, and I was very, very young. And I knew about aliens back then. And I don't know how.
No, this is it. I mean, it's just just had this knowing all my life, and starting to learn how to trust that knowing more and more. You know, and it's all very strange.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. And just finding that, you know, you try and say things to people and you just get these blank stares back, and they're like, what are you going on about?
Or you say something a little bit too deep and you see like the reboot happen. You know, where it's like it almost like, malfunctions. Like I cannot, does not compute, right? And then just
I very much watched somebody do that recently. I started talking about that, and you could just see that the lights were on but nobody was home, and it wasn't really going through, and it was like, oh, okay. Oops.
You mentioned before too that you were a loner too.
Yeah, I was very much a loner.
We were, Holly and I too.
Oh yeah. I think that's where we get our most. Sorry, go ahead.
I think I've always had like couple of good friends and things like that, but even still, I just found myself feeling happier going off in my own little world a lot of the time. I spent a lot of the time in my local woods when I was younger. Just walking around on my own. My mum would have had a fit if she'd have known most of the things that I did, but
I did that. I used to take.
But I was happy. I was connecting, you know.
Yeah. I felt safe out there. Even in the winter, I would walk the river until it ended, and it would just be nothing but trees. And I would watch the animals and go sledding down in the middle of nowhere. My mother never knew where I was.
That's amazing. Yeah. I was different. I actually didn't go out into nature. I stayed in my bedroom and I listened to music all the time, and I was constantly reading and writing. And I used to do this really weird thing, which made me think when I first started waking up and connecting more with extraterrestrial stuff, that I was here to record something, because especially in the written word, because I used to do this thing when I was a kid where I would grab a book, and I remember doing it the first time with the book adaptation of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which was like this movie that I loved. And I would hold it in one hand, and I would have a pad of paper and a pen in my other hand, and I would copy the book. I would write out the whole thing word for word for word, like I was trying to keep record of it or something, which totally doesn't make any sense. So I did the same thing. I would be by myself, but I would be like stuck in my room, in my little hidey hole, like a little hermit. Yeah.
That's
I've always been very weird.
Maybe you should be writing a book. book. You need to start writing a life book.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I actually think the loner thing is, well, maybe it's a double-edged sword in a way, because it's one way for us, if we stay separate from other people, we can't really influence them with our energy. And I think that's kind of a negative thing, right? Because then maybe we can help expand people to a certain degree. But at the other side of it is like, I almost feel like we do our stronger work alone, because we have to be our own
I believe
power,
that.
you know,
I
as
believe
opposed to like having a coven or something like that, which is also powerful. But I think that something happens when you're by yourself doing your own
Well, you
spell.
learn.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about this in one of the other shows, and I said that being alone is you learning who you are
Yeah.
and being good with yourself. And then when you do start to step out and people say things to you that put you down or whatever, you tend to go back into that shell again and wonder what's wrong with you, because all you really know is yourself at this point. So when you get other people's opinions put on top of you, which is right, everybody experiences that, and what does it do to you? And you know, it tends to make you want to go in that hole again for a while and stay away from people, because you don't believe that about yourself. But how can they be saying it if it's not true?
Someone's piled on top of me, right?
But then you have to learn that those people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're projecting onto you, but you don't learn that until you're 50 years old in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It took that long to say you're nothing but a projector. Get away from me. But so Sam, do you, like you said, you used to go to the forest a lot. Did you have contact with fairies? Were you connected there?
Great question.
I've always had a great belief in fairies. Not ever actually seen any, but I feel like they're around. A lot of my things, I don't see a lot of things as such, but I've just got a feeling and knowing about things, and I know when things are like around me, or that energy's around me, or whatever. But I haven't always been able to interpret it. I think it's only been the last couple of years or so that I'm starting to get in tune enough with myself to be able to interpret what is actually going on.
Nice.
And
you'll see so far it's really funny, because we have it in gallery view, and I'm watching it in gallery view, and you just see while you're talking, Sam, me and Laureen going,
yeah, we're resonating for sure.
Yeah.
So what kind of energy do you do? Energy work? Do you work with energies, crystals, anything like that?
I've really got into doing healing and Reiki the last couple of years.
Nice.
And I think that's really helped me big time. I started off at first doing it as a healing journey for myself more than doing it for anybody else. And I'm just sort of, I've just done my Reiki Masters in March.
Right, I do remember that post.
Awesome.
Yeah, and yeah, I think I'm still sort of feeling my way into that still, but you know, more and more that's what's helping me connect, I think. And yeah,
sure.
for sure.
That's wonderful.
That's nice.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Reiki's a lovely thing to learn.
I really, really like it too. When I took mine, was like what, 3, maybe 4 years ago. And you did the Yusui too, right?
Yeah.
That's like the best one out there. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got the lineage there from my teacher. It's not that far back to Yusui, which is nice. Right. I had a lovely teacher. I've still got a really great teacher. We meet up regularly. We do a healing share once a month.
Nice.
Which is really nice. We work on each other to help each other, so that to clear each other's energies.
Right. And that will keep your power, your energy strong too, and it'll keep it in your field. So that when you do go to work on somebody, it's quick.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That was awesome. I don't think I knew that you had. What degree do you have, Laureen? Because I have my first. You have your second?
Yeah, but I've done it twice.
Mm-hmm.
And I was supposed to go for the 3rd degree, but she said, if you're not going to be working on people on a regular basis, he said that it wouldn't matter if I had it or not, but I'm going to go back only because it's getting to the point now where so many people around me need it. And I can still do the full, because I've had it done twice. Like I went through the training twice with 2 different people. One was the Usui, which is the one I wanted the most. And the second lady, she did the same thing to me. She, I was ready for the third, and something happened between us. And she lived across the street from me. And then something happened between us, and then she just stopped talking to me. So I was like, okay, well, that wasn't meant to be. But I'm going to be going It's no big deal. Like, really, I'm still using it in the same way.
Absolutely.
With other things, it's still strong. So.
Yeah.
I was actually, I very much debated whether to go on and do the third one myself as well. But I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
I think each one, you do get a slight upgrade and you can tune in that much better.
Right.
Yeah.
But I've been doing upgrades and tuning in with other things, so I just kind of incorporate it.
Exactly. So you're pretty much there anyway, I expect. You know, in some ways it didn't make a huge difference, and in other ways it did make a huge difference, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, I think as long as it teaches you that the energy is there and it's for you to harness, and even with or without the attunement or getting a degree or anything, it's there. You can tap into it somehow. You know, it's just that the classes seem to fast forward that a little bit.
Right. So if you're going to make sure that you understand that your left is the receiver and the right is the projector. So that's another energy that I'm working with right now. This isn't taught in Reiki, but because both hands are activated. But for somebody that doesn't have the activations from Reiki, left is receiving and right is projecting. So you want to receive, and then, you know, especially if it's an animal or, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So, yeah, that's awesome. What else do you
why don't you tell us about, is it Gasm tie-dye? Because you're showing off your beautiful wares.
Gazam tie-dye. I started Gazam tie-dye. It's actually an amalgamation of mine and my husband's name. So it's an amalgamation of Gary and Sam.
Nice.
It sounds powerful.
Yeah, it really does.
It's funny because for quite a few years we always used to say to each other, "Oh, the Gazam team can do it. We can do it together, and the Gazam team can do it." And then I was umming and ahhing over what to call my business, and it just made sense to call it that. And it's like, bam, there you go. and it's bright colours.
That's awesome. Wonderful. Do you sell them?
Yeah, I do. I've got a shop on Etsy. I started it in 2014, at the end of 2014.
Oh, okay.
I wanted something that I could do from home, because I've had problems with various illnesses and stuff, and I wanted something that I could pick my hours of working when I wanted to work and when I felt like working. If I didn't, I could hide away a bit. So that's why it's worked for me.
So what's your name on Etsy?
It's Gazam tie-dye. So it's Gazam.
Tiger. So Gazam tiger.
And then tie-dye. So Tiedye.
Oh, Tiedye. Okay, sorry.
Gazam tiger. I like that too. That seems like it could be a real tiger.
So it's on Etsy. Okay, I'm gonna look that up.
And we'll definitely put your webpage in the description of the video, because I was checking out the shop the other day and it's beautiful. I love all your stuff.
Yeah. No, thank you. It's been a little bit neglected lately. I've been a little bit poorly. I put so much into it for so long, and I was working like 7 days a week on it, and to try and get it up and running, and got to the point where I literally burnt myself out and had to go, stop. Yeah, it's not fun. I don't advise anybody to push themselves that hard, because the fallout is quite harsh. But yeah, so I'm just trying to get to the point now with it that I can do it without it actually taking over my entire life.
Finding the balance.
So I can find me a little bit in there as well, but I think I've got
we can kind of see it.
I've got more discerning about what I like doing and what I don't like doing, and I'll do a lot more. I do quite a lot of custom work for people, and
it's
there's
beautiful
very nice
stuff.
Oh yeah,
I love the bedding.
Yeah, that's very popular. I mean, that's something that I do only make them to order. So, it's when an order comes in that I'll get on and make one of those. So, but yeah,
that's
I've done
wonderful.
quite a lot.
Yeah,
it's one of those. It's ended up taking over a little bit, but I was like, no, I've pushed back a little bit lately, and I'm like, no, there's no point in doing that to myself. I've got to give myself a bit of a break with it as well, and go and try and get back to enjoying it, because it did get to a little point where it was becoming a bit of a chore, and I was like, no, this is not what I wanted, but I want to enjoy what I do, and I do. I do sort of channel and try and work closely with people, especially there's a different technique that I use that's separate from the tie-dye, which is called ice dyes, which is like I'm wearing on my top. My top is an ice dye. It's a slightly different technique, where I fold and do all the things I'm normally going to do with the tie-dye, but then I cover that in ice and then put the dyes on that. So as the ice melts, it draws the colors and the dyes through. And I very much do channeling when I'm doing that as well. So I try and tune in the person that I'm doing something for, and Lorene's showing all my stuff.
It's gorgeous.
Just so people can see.
Yeah, I try and connect with somebody. If I'm doing something like an ice dye, I try and connect with them and connect with their soul guides and things.
My new clothing
try
wear.
and make something really individual for them.
Look at that one. Beautiful.
It seems weird.
Yeah, Lorene's just gonna have the rest of the show just flipping through all your stuff.
This is the kind of shirt I live in all summer long. And I don't have any left. I went through all my summer stuff to put it back in my drawers, and I've worn them out, and I need new ones. So I'm going shopping at your store.
And that one looks like it has like most of a heart, which is super nice.
Yeah,
sometimes it's just a fluke. One thing is that I do only at the moment I only sell to the UK to try and keep it manageable for me. But
you do? Okay.
But I do send out worldwide as well occasionally. So if I know somebody that really likes something, I will do it. But it's just more me trying to keep control of my workload a little bit, so that I don't end up taking too much.
Sure.
But yeah, I do send it abroad occasionally as well. So it's a bit more exclusive. So when it does go out abroad, it's a bit more exclusive. You're not going to bump into anybody else who's got any.
Do you prefer that I get a hold of you first to let you know?
Yeah, just send me a message, and then I can sort out a shipping and things like that to make sure that it's adjusted, to make sure the right amounts are paid and things. But send me a message, and we'll sort it out.
Okay. All right. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Really nice.
So you said that was a fluke, that it was like a heart. Can you control it at any degree? Like, could you actually create a little bit more of a pattern?
Yeah, if I want to. There's a certain amount of control, and there's a certain amount of guesswork and luck. I think the more you do it, the more you know roughly how things are going to come out. But there is always an element of it's going to do what it wants to do.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's all right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Always
turns out the way it's supposed to.
Like I've got a t-shirt here with a heart on it. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
that's quite deliberate how I've done that.
I love
that's
that.
Parts. and there is things like, and there's certain patterns and things that you know, you've got a good.
Oh,
I love that.
This is one of my favorites. I have one of these. It's awful. I you know, all these years I've been making it, and I ended up having all the pieces that sort of went wrong. And not having anything good for myself, you know. And I've actually recently made myself quite a lot of items, because I'm like, no, I want something good out of this too. And you know, I deserve to have something nice out of it as well.
Yeah,
and not just all the pieces that have gone slightly wrong, you know.
For sure.
Yeah. What was really cool about that last one you showed is it had almost like a fractal sort of look to it, like Mandelbrot set.
Yeah,
it was very nice. So what got you into, of all things, because, you know, as a visual artist myself, there are so many different avenues you can go down for, you know, to color something, to bring color to someone's life, you know. What was the thing that got you into tie-dye, or was it something that interested you for a long time, or?
I've always been quite into it, and I've always quite liked it. And then a few years ago, me and my husband said, let's buy a few dyes and make ourselves a few bits and pieces. Just have a bit of a play.
Nice.
And anyway, I put this up on Facebook, and as you do, and loads of people were saying, you're really, really good at this.
Yeah.
You need to do it. And I was like, why not? You know, let's do it. I mean, I've always been quite creative. I've always been sort of making things, and you know, I just got into it, I suppose. I just you know, I felt I could do it, and I could do it reasonably well, so why not?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There was something this week that I wanted to bring to the show. It's probably not a real deep topic, but I'd like to hear both of your thoughts on it. Recently, George Cavassalis was on Beyond the Veil. Did you catch that, Lori?
Did
you catch it, Sam?
I don't think I did.
I caught it very, very close to the end, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna come back. I still haven't gone back and watched it, even though I totally intend to.
It took me 2 days to get through it because it's so long.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. And there was something he said that really resonated with me, and I'm going to start thinking more in terms of this as well. And it was, you know, the New Age religion constantly says to you, search for your higher self, look for your higher self. It's your higher self. But what he suggested was, what we need to do instead of trying to reach our higher selves is reach our future selves in a linear sense of the version of you that is through all of this stuff already and is now on the other side of it.
For your answers, he said,
Yeah, and I thought that was brilliant, because you do hear it parroted the same way, like, well, I'm connected to my higher self, or, you know, when these numbers show up on the stove or whatever, you know, 444 or something, you go, oh, it's my higher self telling me fill in the blank, right? But hearing that, I was just like, that's actually really brilliant, because that's along the lines of something we've been talking about too, is that integrating with the other versions of yourself. So we move forward. I guess you would say forward if you're thinking in a linear sense. We would move forward and connect with the future version that's already, look, I've already handled all this stuff and here's how I did it. You know, almost like being able to like the 50-year-old version of you being able to go back and tell the 20-year-old version, look, check this out, look into this, because this will help you out in a lot of ways. But instead it's the other way. It's the 20 looking for the 50-year-old. Am I making sense to everybody?
Yeah, you are. It makes sense.
Okay, good.
I think that we do it naturally anyways.
Yeah.
I think that we do tap in, and I think we do exactly what he said. Because in order to grow, even though you have to learn lessons along the way, when you get it, it's almost like you're done. So is that person. So is your future self, because your future self has already lived through it. So when you already completed that, and you got whatever it was out of it, and you feel that you're good with that answer or that amount of knowledge about that thing, I think that you're there. Thank you. Oh, you can. Oh no. Okay, that's fine. Okay. You know the little CBD cans.
She's getting presents.
Oh, I needed something to drink so bad, and I wanted the CBD drink that I drink, but I got this one. Well, these are good too. They're supposed to be like yeah, they're all natural. I've had this one. I like it. Thank you. Let me know how much I owe you, okay? Please, so I can hook you up. Do you know register status? Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. What do you think about that, Sam? Or do you have any thoughts on that at the present time?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I totally resonate with what you're saying. Yeah, I don't quite know how to voice it at the moment, but
that's all right. I don't want to put you on the spot. Something that's cool about our show is we tend to just flow with whatever, you know. Yeah. So if there's anything that you have, you know, because this whole week I've been, what is it? It's Tuesday the 21st. The last few days, I feel like I've completely checked out. I doubt I'm the only one, but I haven't been checking Facebook really. I haven't really been watching many like thought-provoking videos. I've been watching more silly videos just to like, you know, like I think maybe I've had a big dump or something, you know, as attractive as that sounds.
I've had a couple of real crash days lately.
Yeah, me too.
It's been very overcast, the weather, which always makes me feel very, very flat. It's sunny today and I'm so grateful because I can actually think.
Yeah, I go through that too. When it's really cloudy, my brain gets cloudy.
Yeah, absolutely. I really struggle with the weather. Every time that it's completely overcast, it's like my brain just shuts down on me. I can't think about the things I want to.
Yeah,
and it's not fun.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It tells me that we're all connected to our environment. We're all connected to nature.
Yeah.
So my saying to my husband, he's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, look outside. Whatever the outside looks like, that's how I'm going to feel inside. You know that already.
Yes.
Don't ask me what's wrong. Look outside.
Yeah. And my husband, Eric, goes through that too. Like we used to say we're under the weather. And now we go, we're under the geoengineering.
That's pretty much what I've been saying. Even my dog goes outside, and if he sees chemtrails going across the sky with a plane going across and leaving a chemtrail behind it, he starts barking at it. And he never barks, but he barks at chemtrails.
That's funny. He knows what's up.
Yeah, he knows what's up. Oh wow, yes, and that's been my reality. Maybe the last like 4 or 5 days because we've had lots of gray days.
I kind of figured something was going on with you because I hadn't heard from you, and usually we're texting a few times each day, and I'm like, she's going something. I already knew. Yeah,
I just totally freaking checked out. I don't know why. I know why. I mean, it's all cloudy and everything, but today it's, you know, at first I thought, oh, this is no good for a show, and I almost did what you were about to say too. I almost was like, let's try this tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. But I was like, no, just do it because I am so tired. Like I can't even explain how tired I am. And do you find, okay, Sam, you deal with, and if you don't want to talk about this, it's totally fine. But I've talked about health issues I've dealt with and stuff, and you deal with something called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Is that right?
Yeah.
Am I saying it right? Do you find that compounds on top of already the cloudiness, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, if the weather is overcast and grey, all my joints really hurt.
Yeah.
Things like I've got no flexibility properly in my hands. They get puffy, and I don't feel well on those days.
Yeah.
And then again, you know, a day later it can be sunny, and I'm like, yeah, I'm up, I'm out, and I'm dancing, and I'm happy, and I just get on with things, and so it can be hard for people to understand. I think that because you can go from being quite active and full of life, and
Yeah.
and then the next minute, you know, the next day I can be totally crashed out. You're not going to get a damn thing out of me.
Yeah.
And if that's really rough, I can't even speak properly. I'll slur my words. Nothing will come out properly, and I've just got to take time out. And that's
I've
one of the
known.
reasons for doing the tie-dye at home, was because I need.
Yeah.
And I, you know, because it is affected by things like the weather. There's no pattern to it as such. It's just taking each day as it comes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I don't deal with like anything, like any diseases or whatever. However, I notice on certain days there are things that I go through that I'm just like, I'm like a healthy person and I'm dealing with this. That doesn't make any sense. Like, for example, when they are heavy chemtrailing, I'll go to the studio and I'll start recording voiceover auditions. Everything's going fine, but like a half an hour in, my mouth won't work the way that it should be working. I can't form words properly, and it feels very slurry and very weird. So I can't imagine what someone who was already dealing with something, what you go through, you know, because my mother had MS, and she went through lots of weird things too. You know, her thing, it seemed, was like when it was really, really hot, she would start to have like MS attacks, and her legs would spasm, and her hands wouldn't work that great and stuff.
I find an extreme causes problems. So, and if it's really hot, I find it hard to function. But if it's really cold, I also find it really hard to function as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it's raining, that just makes it even worse. And storms are just horrendous.
Rain is kind of the worst in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do feel like a bit of a barometer at times with the weather.
Yeah, that's because you're connected.
Barometer walking around.
That makes sense.
When you're connected so deeply like that, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can feel when it rains coming, when it storms. I mean, I love storms all my life. I used to stand out in them, or sit on the porch, or I was always the lightning and thunder. I had to see it. And now still, I'll run out the back porch and I'll watch it until it's over the house.
Yeah.
So I know I'm connected, and I do feel the same way exactly. So that's really interesting.
We don't get storms on Salt Spring.
Oh,
it's actually really, no, it's really sad, because that's like one of the few things I missed from Ontario was we have these huge thunderstorms and lightning storms, and I used to sit up in my window when I was a kid growing up. And I lived up in the attic. It's just different. We get weird rain where like it's really misty and very romantic, and you almost don't feel like you're getting rained on, and the sun will be shining at the same time, and then 5 minutes later all the clouds will come in, it'll just be pissing rain for 10 minutes. And like we have this saying on the island, which is if you hate the weather on Salt Spring, wait 5 minutes, because chances are it'll change. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been super foggy this week, and hopefully things will break through and we'll all find some clarity, because you know, I need to connect with my future self, who's already gotten past all of this fogginess. That's what I need to do. So you mentioned, Sam, that you do some channeling and some energy work when you're working on your tie-dyes. Can you go into that in more detail? Thank you.
I just like to connect with the person that I'm making something for. I like to really try and connect in with them. And I think one of the best things that I ever made was I dyed a drum skin to make a shamanic drum for my husband.
Oh, beautiful.
And when I finished making that, when we actually looked at it, there's so many different pictures and things that have been pulled out in that.
Yeah.
And so
was that what you put up on Facebook?
Yeah, I did put it up on Facebook a little while ago. And you can only see, the photos don't really give it justice, but I mean, you can shine a light through it and you get another set of pictures out of it. Wow. And it's almost like reading like a bit of tarot or something, you know, and it's almost like reading somebody's soul. It's amazing what will come out.
Yeah. So it's dimensional.
Sorry? Yeah, absolutely.
Dimensional.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like tea leaves. but on a shirt.
Yeah.
Or on a drum skin in this case.
Drum skin too at that.
Yeah.
That's, oh my God, that's magical. Right?
Yeah, that's probably one of my most challenging things I've ever made, I think.
Yeah.
And then I once I finished dyeing it up, I actually tied it up and made it up for him, which was just awesome.
Is
I
that
loved
the
it.
only one you've ever done? Have you
That is
only
the only, yeah, it is the only one I've ever done.
and what kind of skin? What kind of skin did you use?
I think it's a deer skin.
A deer skin.
Yeah, I bought a kit that had all the pieces that you need to make your own drum. I bought it from another Etsy shop. I just wanted to get my husband's, and I wanted to put my own personal mark onto it, I think.
Right. Right. Well, it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Thereby put your energy into the instrument.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I've been saving for a shamanic drum.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing, is they're not cheap.
Yeah.
And so buying it as a kit form was actually a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I'm looking at the one I'm looking at. It's from the Shaman's Market. It's called. It's where I get all my teas and stuff. And it's 180 for the one I want. And then the mallet that you use, you hold it from the back. Does yours have like strings on the back and you hold it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like, yes. So
Yeah.
I think the mallet's separate, but that's okay because I do have one. I did show it on one of my meditations a while back that I bought at a resale shop, and it's really old, and it's an actual tree that was carved all out, and the deer skin was put around it.
Wow.
Oh wow.
So it still has the bark on it and everything. And when I use my fingertips and I use it, oh my God. It's got the most amazing sound to it, but it's so old. I don't want to be too rough with it. I don't want to get a mallet and be too rough with it. So, and it's actually got a hand-painted Indian's head on the front of it.
Wow. That's cool.
On the skin itself. So I don't know where it came from. The energy is really good on it. Like in the shop, I held it and I knew the energy was good. But I was just amazed that I even found it.
You were meant to find it.
I was meant to find it, yes. Yes.
That sounds awesome. Now you mentioned just now, Laureen, you said meditation. You did a meditation this week that I missed. But you were there, Sam, right?
I did the meditation with Lorraine, yeah.
Yes.
It was great.
I tagged you, but I knew there was something going on.
I totally checked out.
Yeah. So what did you think, Sam?
I thought it was absolutely lovely. And funnily enough, I'd actually listened to the same meditation piece of music earlier that day.
Nice.
So it was obviously needed, and it was needed for the group.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the one meditation I showed up for was amazing. And then of course I said to you, Laureen, afterwards, I was like, tag me every time. I want to be there. And I know that like meditation is not something I actually make time for. I'm constantly in the zone. Like, cause if I'm knitting something, I'm in the zone. If I'm drawing something, I'm in the zone, you know, but I don't meditate, you know, and it used to be something that I did a lot. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show before, but it used to be something that I did a lot when I was growing up and in my teenage years, because I lived in a bit of a cacophonous situation. So it was the thing that pushed me, you know, was to put headphones in, cover myself in crystals, put some beautiful music on, and just, it was like, it was for sanity, right? So now I don't have that anymore, where it's like, oh, I need to escape because I'm in a bad living situation. So I don't gravitate to it as much. I tend to, my meditations, I guess, tend to be like sitting on the deck in nature, watching my chickens and knitting something.
So many things that you do through the day is a meditation, but you're just not aware of it. And you don't sit for 25 minutes. I mean, you can put that music on. I did the Ganesha removing obstacles because so many people have been having issues.
I need that.
So why I chose that one, and I had a little talk at the beginning, a little talk at the end about releasing, just you know, going with the flow and releasing, which I think was pretty good. And you can just bring that music up anytime you want, and you're
Yeah.
meditating. You don't have to, be with your eyes closed. I
I
do
mean,
it when I'm laying down. I'll close my eyes and go in. That's what I do. The minute I lay in bed, I start traveling. But everything, just remember, you don't have to be the yogi. Whatever you do is a meditation.
That's true. It's like the idea of, you can, to be a monk on a mountain, you can attain spiritual enlightenment.
We don't
but
have that luxury.
But the real power is like, bring the mountain down to the city, bring the monk down to the city, and try to radiate that out, right?
Yes.
Were you going to say something, Sam?
We're
getting used to 3 people.
I know.
The conversation with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also nice. I'm really enjoying with the Fearless group with doing meditation is doing the meditations together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And feeling each other's energies from that, because it's just so amazingly powerful.
It is.
And it really is beautiful. I mean, the last meditation you did, Lorraine, that was a little bit longer. I mean, by the end of that, I was absolutely buzzing.
Yeah.
I
think that's the one I caught.
Yes.
It was beautiful. And I think, it'd actually been a little while since I'd gone that deeply into meditation. I do it quite regularly because I find it helps to balance me out a little bit and keep me grounded.
Yeah.
And it helps me get to sleep at night as well.
Yeah, me too. And I know when I did it the other day, I was feeling that everybody needed a little bit of something because of the posts that I was seeing. And then I listened to Frank and Paula the night before, and did you listen to the last show, Holly?
No.
They brought us up in there. They gave us.
Did they really?
They did.
Yeah. And then
Frank and
need
Paula.
to get these meditations going again, and I was like, yeah, I'm on it, because I was ready. I needed it too. So I thought, I'm just sharing.
Yeah.
Because I knew my energy, whatever I was feeling already before I even started it, that I was sending it right to the Fearless group. It was already going there. And then I started the meditation, and it just went off like real good. No issues.
Well, I had not the one that you did on Monday, but the one you did a few weeks ago, that one that I joined, and I've mentioned this on the show before, I had a little message that came through that said, if not now, when? And then Joshua Ryan, I put that in the text, and then Joshua Ryan said, hey, I just heard, what did he hear? Why not? That's what he heard. Almost like we were like both asking each other, but answering each other with questions. And
that's why it's important for us to all get together and do it, because the power that touches everybody, it's almost like, whoop, everybody's connected.
Yeah. And so with the last meditation that she had on Monday, did you have any interesting experiences, Sam? Again, not to put you on the spot.
I mean, it was definitely well timed. I mean, like I said, I'd listened to that exact same meditation actually just a few hours earlier, so it was obviously needed that day, and it was. And then there was others that said similar things as well. And I've actually listened to it a couple of times since as well. But I had actually gone through a little phase where I hadn't been meditating quite so much, and then by doing that, it's made me get back into it again and take more time out to meditate.
Nice.
And I mean, I think sometimes we all got best intentions to get on with it, but we all sort of stray off from doing it for ourselves. And I think with the Fearless group, when we do that, it helps me just say, no, that is what I want to be doing. I want to be taking more time out to just connect.
We allow ourselves to get so sucked into the 3D and the everyday, like, oh, I gotta make a meal, I gotta wash a dish, I gotta go do this errand, and then it's like it's that balance I'm trying to attain, that okay, well, I've done all this physical 3D stuff, now I'm just gonna sit and I do that for the most part. I'm really good about that. I'm pretty good about active and non-active for a little bit, you know, although my hands are always constantly moving with something.
Yeah, mine.
Yeah, but meditation I think is really important. And I actually think, and I'd like to hear both of your opinions on this, I actually think that astrology is something that is going to unlock certain things for us. I think it has moved from this place of, well, not for me. I've always viewed astrology and numerology and acrophonology and phrenology and all this stuff that people would say are pseudosciences. I've always viewed it as having something to it, that it has depth to it. You just have to find it, you know. So ever since I was a kid, I was like totally fascinated by all the ologies, you know. And I just felt so connected to them. And I was definitely studying astrology by the time I was 12, you know, and now I've forgotten some of that stuff, you know, and now I find myself yet again coming back to a place where I'm like, if we're looking at everything multidimensionally or multifractally or whatever, you know, when I was 12, I saw astrology like this. This was what astrology was. And now I'm 38 and I look at astrology and I'm like, I see it much more broader now.
Yes.
And thinking of terms of like, if this is a simulation or a program, or, you know, these are like the best terms we could possibly come up for whatever this freaking world is, right? I feel like stars in one aspect, okay, this is something I've been toying with the last couple of months that I haven't talked about yet. Stars in one aspect, I feel like, because I don't think they are these objects that are like billions and billions of whatever away. I feel like they're much closer, but I think that they're both access points and also portals. And I have to wonder if like maybe a new star is born whenever somebody is born, if that makes sense. Like wherever. Right. And maybe a star dies when someone dies, or is born when someone dies. I don't know. It's an idea of playing around with, but I think that astrology too is another way to almost like through a back door get into the system and be able to administrate a little bit, if that makes any sense. Now, everybody tell me what you think.
Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah. No pressure.
No, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I must admit, astrology is not something that I've known huge amounts about. Mm-hmm. There's been other things in my life I think that I've got more into, but so I'm not huge. But you know, I think we all sort of can sit there quite often and looking at the sky and just thinking there's got to be more meaning to everything than we're being told.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And as a
sure.
child as well, right? Remember as a child how you stare up into the sky and you had such wonder about things?
Yeah.
I think it's so important to still be like that, and I do have that inside me. I mean, I haven't brought that totally out. Like,
well, you're a Leo. You're the natural kid, you know.
Well, no, it depends on the programming too that I had to undergo too while I was younger, right? But as far as the stars go, I'll tell you, I know that all the planets have their own frequency. I know they generate a sound. Each planet has their own sound. I have all this stuff all saved. I have all the sounds of the planets, and they all make sounds. They all have their own frequencies. And I believe the stars do too. I think they're there for a reason. It's incredible to me that there's certain constellations that just don't die off. Mm-hmm. You will never get a falling star out of those constellations. Mm-hmm. And they've been here since the beginning of time.
Yeah, almost like they're set. They're not going anywhere.
To anybody here, that doesn't make sense when all the other stars die. Yeah. So I consider that, and I'm thinking, okay, well, we are in a construct. That movie that Jim Carrey did, where
Truman Show?
The Truman Show. You know, after I watched that, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
When is that light gonna fall in front of me? The one that has been hanging up there. You know what I mean? Like, I do think about things like that, but I know that the planets are living like well, I shouldn't say I know. I have a feeling that, and I've heard other people speak about this, that the planets are they're living beings, just like our Earth.
Yeah.
So everything is alive. Everything has some type of living energy to it. I believe that everything up there does too.
Mm-hmm. There was a show that got taken down, which I was really upset about, but it was a show that Lisa M. Harrison did year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, and I wonder if either of you saw any of this, but it was within all that Lilu stuff that was happening. So I can't remember if it was a one-person roundtable, but I'm pretty sure it was her, and it was like 2 other girls, and one of the girls started talking about stars and how she was just sitting outside looking up at a star. There was something about this star that was attracting her to it. So she just kept staring at it and staring at it and staring at it. And she was finding herself like connecting with this star. And
I saw
then
that one.
Okay. And then she stared playing with other stars and she was like, oh, no, I don't want to connect with you very much. I'm going to, and I'm really sad because that got taken down like a couple days after it was put up, and I have no idea why, because there was nothing she said in it that was like of any, government or conspiratorial intrigue or anything. It was just literally 3 chicks talking about stars. Right? That's what it seemed to me, but it was brilliant.
Yeah, just the fact that the planets in your chart affect you. Like you could go into let's say you've got Uranus at 27 degrees Pisces. So you read about Uranus at 27 degrees Pisces and the energies that planet has at that particular degree in that sign means something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's why astrology intrigues me so much.
Yeah.
Because if they can affect us like this, and I think they're all benevolent. I think every planet out there is benevolent, and I think Saturn's gotten a bad rap. We need Saturn in our life. We need Saturn to do what he needs to do. It's been demonized, and anything that's been demonized, put down, don't follow them, don't do this. You have to, because
you got to challenge that. Yeah.
You've got to
challenge. That's stuff to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Exactly. When they say no, you do the opposite.
Yeah. And whatever they tell you is amazing and they try to glorify it, stay away from it.
It's funny because even growing up, when my parents would say don't do something, I always did it.
Of course.
I always did. I never listened to anything. Yeah. So I was already defiant. My father called me defiant, and I will be defiant till the day I die. If you tell me no, I want to know why, and I'm going to search it out myself.
Yep.
That's me.
Absolutely.
Yep.
What about you, Sam? Are you the same way?
Totally.
You are.
My mum, it's funny actually, because my mum actually said it the other day. She always wanted to control us as children.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was never, ever going to work. Because every time you try and tell me that I'm not doing something, I was going to go and do it every time.
Yep.
And if she said I could do something, I lost all interest. I didn't want to know.
What's your sign, Sam? What's your sign?
Sorry? I'm a Pisces.
Oh, no way! I didn't know.
Oh. So are you, right?
What, can I ask your date?
6th of March.
6, okay. I'm on the 1st.
Yeah, cool.
Nice, fellow Pisces, fellow mermaids.
What's your year, Sam?
1975.
What is it?
75.
1975.
Oh my God, you're a year younger than my husband.
Wow.
And I'm 12 years older than him.
Then Sam?
My husband.
Sorry?
Oh, then your husband, right. Okay. Yeah, we're really close. I didn't realize we were so close in age because I'm 1981.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Which would have been the same age as my sister, but she didn't make it.
Oh.
Oh, no.
She was stillborn.
Actually,
the day before my birthday, my 6th birthday.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. So Holly would have been the same age as her.
Wow.
Now you said, sorry, did you want to go?
No, I was just going to say there was something I was just going to say and I forgot, so go ahead.
Oh, Oh, okay, perfect. That worked out for me. But now I think I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay, you said a few minutes ago, Sam, that you didn't really look at anything like astrology or whatever else. What were your interests growing up? As a rebellious person who knew that nothing is what it seems.
I quite like tarot, but then I've never really got into reading it as well as I should do. I don't know. I liked being out in nature. That was my thing. I liked just being out and being in my own company, really. I just found being around other people was too much hard work a lot of the time. I'm a complete empath, so yeah, I've learned, slowly learning how to protect myself.
This is why you've connected with our show, because we're all empaths here. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you also,
not always easy, is it?
Did you also have the feeling that you don't belong here?
Yeah, very much so.
Me too.
I remember voicing that even to my doctor a few years ago. I have a lot of food allergies and things like that. And I was like, I just don't feel like I belong on this planet. I shouldn't be here. I'm just rejecting it. You know, my body's just went, no, I don't want to know. And like I say, it's been things like food allergies and things like that for me that, you know, and I just know that, I shouldn't be here. I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah, I always felt that way too. And I remember at 7 years old, I remember this one time where I was sitting on my grandmother's trailer and I was looking at my hands just at the front of them and then at the back. And I wasn't tripping out or anything, but I was just I was just, whoa, man, what's going on? I was looking at my hands and it just baffled me because I was like, why are they not blue and why are they not old? And for some reason that stuck in my head that I was blue and wrinkly.
Oh my God, that's a clue.
Yeah. And I always thought it was maybe like
think that on their own.
Yeah, and I always thought maybe, well, I didn't always think, it was when I got older and I was looking more at ET stuff and stuff and stuff. And I was reading about Pleiadians and how they have a connection, like some of them are blue or whatever else, blue skinned and all this. It would make kind of more sense on one level if I was connected to something that was water oriented, because being a Pisces, and I've always very much, well, when I was a kid, my favorite activity was swimming, and it's still one of my favorite activities. And I used to pretend I was a mermaid when I was like 5, 6 years old. I used to my neighbors had the big normal sized pool, 8 feet on one side, like 3, 4 feet on the other side or whatever. And they used to have all these rings. So I would toss the rings down to the bottom of the 8 feet and I would dive down and I would grab the ring and I would come back up. And sometimes I would have a ring around my feet so that they stayed together. So I would flip them around like a flipper.
Oh my God, you were a dolphin. I just heard about a planet that is a dolphin planet.
Isn't that the Dogon? Wasn't the Dogon? Wasn't it Sirius B or something, right?
The other day, and it's supposed to be a planet that has like dolphins, and the water is pristine blue, and these dolphins have a bluish color to them. I'm wondering if maybe you're from there. You were a dolphin. Frank and Paula were fish.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I've always loved dolphins as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have several dolphins dotted around my house.
You do?
Nice.
Oh, I bet you. Well, you're Pisces.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Holy fish, you mean?
The planet of lions somewhere. Maybe I came from that planet of lions.
Maybe. Hey, if Graham Hancock is right, the Sphinx at one point actually had a lion's head.
That's because it was the age of Leo.
Yeah,
when it
built way earlier than they told us it was.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe that's why Egyptians one of the reasons at least, had this affinity for cats, is that feline people actually came down and said, build this shit for us, in our name, and you pay homage to us this way, and we'll give you our genetically altered selves in here.
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder, and then of course it throws throws my brain into a million other topics, which is, of course, like, if we aren't living in this NASA heliocentric, like, here's the sun and, these are the things that go around and everything's 360. I don't know. I truly don't. I have no horse in the whole globe or flat thing. It's just a distraction, right? But if it's a construct, it's both and it's neither. So it doesn't really matter.
We're never going to know unless
never going to know.
Get out of our bodies and keep our consciousness and go as far as we can and check it all out. Now, some people have done that. George has done that.
Yeah.
So if you listen to more of his stuff, because I'm on his website, iaminfinite.love, you should go there. There's lots to read there. Plus, I have his book, and his books are amazing. And the one book that I read about our journey home. Oh, you guys, have you ever? Sam, have you read it? Our Journey Home, it's called. He talks so much. The visuals I was getting while reading this book was making me cry. I felt so deeply about what I was reading. I was so connected to it. And what he said was the outcome of all of this stuff. I was feeling the bliss inside of me reading, and I was crying at some points. And I was just like, I can't wait. I can't wait. I want this now. That's how beautiful it felt. If you can get a hold of this book, try. It will give you so much peace inside. But he has done that, and until I can leave my body and go and figure it out up there, I think even though I'm going to see and experience what I'm going to see, your experience will be different because our perceptions are different.
Yeah.
So whatever it is up there, we're never going to know, but we can always have as much fun as we can, like what we're doing right now. This is taking our minds, all three of us, this video, what we're doing right now is taking our minds off the shit. And we're just connecting with each other and having fun and laughing. This has made me feel better. I'm not mad anymore.
Good. Yay.
At the FedEx guy, I'm not going to punch him in the face when he gets here. And
good.
Holly, you feel better?
Oh, yeah. I'm still a little tired, but I feel like, invigorated.
I feel the same way. Sam, what about you?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, good. Good. I was, you get a little worried when you have technical difficulties for the first 15 minutes and you go, oh shit, this is never going to happen. And then I feel terrible about it because I wanted us to do this. I really want us to be able to have this conversation. And this is a maiden voyage for me and Laureen because you're our first guest.
Yes.
I know.
So I wanted it to go swimmingly as mermaids do. But it didn't start out that way. So you start to think that's going to be a reflection of what the show will be, but instead it's turned out really great. And I'm really happy that you came on, Sam.
Yeah, I'm really pleased I came to see you and chat to you.
Oh, good.
It's been nice to talk to you both.
Oh,
you
good.
too.
Is there anything else that you guys can think of that you'd like to talk about?
Let Sam just rattle off whatever she wants to talk about, whatever she feels needs to come out at this time.
You have the floor, honey.
Whatever.
Do you know, actually, something actually came up for me last night. I went to my my healing share, and I had a couple of people working on me, and one of them looked up and said to me, I've worked out what's going on with you and why you are so sensitive, so fragile in a lot of ways. And he said, you're one of the original crystal children. You're one of the scouts that was originally sent several years ago, because most crystal children are like 1990 to 2010, I think it is. But apparently I'm one of the scouts that came originally.
Nice.
So
can you define that better for someone? Instead, like if someone's just hearing crystal child or crystal children for the first time, what would you say to describe that?
To be honest with you, it's not something that I've actually looked into a huge amount myself because of the age thing. I didn't think I thought maybe an indigo child before in the past. It was actually last night that it was the first time that I'd looked at crystal children, and when I read it, it was like I'm very much, very, very sensitive, very much in tune with things, very much my own person and a loner and all these other things that were coming up, and I was like, wow. I've always been very intuitive. I can, it sounds awful in a trained way, I can read people. I know what's in their minds, I know what's in their hearts, and the more I can sort of, just because I'm an observer, I'll sit back a lot of the time and I'll just watch what's going on. I don't say a huge amount, so this is quite strange for me doing this today, because
no, it's so wonderful.
really,
I'm so glad.
Talks that much. I'm normally the one just sat in the background just watching everybody else.
Isn't it, can I just say, isn't it super weird when you've gotten used to watching somebody, like for example, I watch Randy Moggins a lot, and then I did a show with him, and to see him and he's talking to me on the screen the way that I normally would see him if I'm watching one of his videos, it just totally threw my brain for a loop. Like, no, you're not watching a thing right now. You're actually invested and engaged in this conversation. Do you have a bit of that?
yeah, absolutely.
It's a little surreal, I think.
It's good. It's good to get out of your comfort zone too.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I when you guys first asked me to do this, I was like sort of panic stricken at first and thinking, oh my God. But then I was like, no, I'm in the fearless group for a reason. I am going to be fearless, and I am going to like completely panic inside, but I'm just going to make myself do it anyway. And I'm glad I have. I mean, it's good for me. You know, I do hide myself away a little bit sometimes, and
so do I.
Yeah,
and so does Holly.
All of us.
That's why I said to you in that post, when you first put that in there, I said to you, just think about it as, you know, 3 broads getting together and just shooting the shit, because that's what we do. And it's not anything that like even when I said to Holly we need to start a show, and she said to me we need to start a show, and inside I was like going, oh my God, I've never put myself out there. And then it just flowed. It was just like, oh, this is natural. We're supposed to be doing this.
Yeah, it's blossoming out the way it's supposed to blossom out.
So we get it. So, okay, you were just saying that the crystal children thing. What else did you find out, or how do you feel about it now that you know?
I've actually feel like it's explained a lot. It really has. I've always felt a bit disjointed from everybody, and it just made me realize like why I do what I do. And like my husband's always saying, you know, he goes to say something and I'll say it before he does, and he's like, well, how do you know that's what my, will you stop reading my brain all the time, you know? But I literally can't have any secrets from you. Like if he wants to buy me something for my birthday or Christmas or something like that, he's always like, I can't keep a secret from you. It's like you always know what you're getting, and you know it just is what I do, you know. And I think the more connected I am with somebody, the more I can, you know, I can read them. And
does he ever do that back to you? Like, does he ever have any?
No, you can't do it as well as I can. Well, he does then, but no, a lot of the time it's just guesswork. But I don't know, I quite often I will sit up and I will say something and he's like, well, I was just thinking about that, and it's completely like nothing, no connection has come before that, you know, and it'll be something completely random, and he's like, just do you stop doing that, we get out of my head, you know. That's what I do. But then reading this thing about crystal children, that's what we do. You know, there is no hiding things from us, there's no lying to us. You know, if somebody tries to lie to me, I straight away I know. And I'm like, you're wasting your time, there's no point. So you know, I can't stand being around people that do lie a lot and stuff, because it's just tiring. I'm just like, no, just go.
It's so exhausting because they're constantly putting up these fronts and these narratives, and you're just like, come on, just be you. Because I can feel all the things, all the layers that you've allowed to compound upon yourself for the story to remain intact, right? Yeah. My husband and I would say he's very connected, Eric. And he and I, multiple times a week, we have this experience where we won't even be listening to any music, and we'll literally just both start singing or whistling the exact same song at the exact same spot at the exact same time. And so we'll sing for like 3 seconds and then turn and look at each other and go, what the fuck? What is that? And it happens multiple times a week. And sometimes we will be listening to music and we'll be totally quiet, doing our own thing. And then all of a sudden we'll both start singing at the exact same guitar solo or something like that. And constantly turn to look at each other, just shake our heads. Okay, we're just going to go with it. Obviously, we're on the same wavelength. That's fine.
Wow.
You know? And there'll be this other thing too, like where one of us will start singing and the other one will go, I was just about to start doing that, because it was like an impulse where you started to do it, but then you're like, no, I feel like being a little more quiet right now or something, and you just don't end up doing it. But almost like second guessing that you get a first psychic thought and then you get your rational thought come in and goes, no, it's not that, you know, so you don't bother with it, and then you miss out on the opportunity of having that weird connection for a second, you know. Yeah, very weird, very weird. I remember back when I used to read a lot more about those ideas of crystal children and indigo children and rainbow children and all that, that I felt very connected to the indigo child. And I even started writing an album called Indigo. That was the whole idea. Yeah, and I'll probably still do it at some point. But what was different about that album than other music that I make is that I didn't arrange it instrumentally. It was literally just, okay, put down a click track, so something that'll go, and I just follow it, and then start making beats with my mouth, start making beats with my hands, so my joke about it was, it's the slaps, taps, yaps, and claps album, you know, because it literally was not going to have any music. It was all going to be vocals or something from my body, you know. So I don't know how that connects with the indigo idea. Maybe because it's really unorthodox to make music with no music in it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting because we've brought up the rainbow, the indigo, and the crystal children. I have a book about all of the generations and where they sit as far as all of those names and stuff go. There's more. Because I was born in the early 60s, we are the first wavers. They're called. And then my children, okay, so I had my first daughter in 86, and then my second in 89, and then my third in 92. So they're 3 years apart each. And then Christopher was born in 2000. So I've got rainbow and crystal children. And so I've read about their mission on the planet, all their missions, and my mission, my generation, because it's generational. Whatever kids are coming in right now, not sure about the name that they're going to call them. There was several things that I heard, but I haven't pinpointed it yet to one. They are the ones that are going to be coming in with their powers. They have them. They're born with them. They're connected in every
and those would be kids born when?
Coming in now.
Right now. Okay.
So from the last few years, like from, what did they say? We're 2019, 2000. Christopher was born in 2000. So it would be from 16 to 16 on. I can't remember. Something like that. But these kids are going to be, okay, my kids born at the time that they're born are going to change governments, are going to change structures of corporations and stuff like that, okay? For the better.
Pyramid structures.
No, like the way corporations do business, the way they are now destroying the planet because of the resources they're taking. This generation that my kids were born in are changing that. And I'll tell you what's funny right now. They're going to be going into, like I said, government positions of like, you know, when you got your small government positions all the way around, like you got a town hall and all this bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, my daughter, my oldest daughter, is going to be, she's going for her master's right now for therapy for, you know, when you lay down on the couch and
Oh, okay. Like,
okay, I can't remember the name of it. Okay,
psychology.
so right now she's going for her master's on that. She's been in school now for 5 years in university. Okay. Now, she quit school, high school.
I did.
So did I. So did Lorraine.
And so did I. And she did get a job. She did have a job where she was making money, but she just took her time out. When she went back, it was full force. Right to university, and bam, 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 bam through her classes. She's acing everything. Not only her, that was my first child in 86. One in 89 got her master's in 3 years to work for CPS. Now, but through there's other avenues. Now, she's done a lot of good because she ended up in Thunder Bay, where the tribes out there are very, very, you know, poor. And she's had to work with a lot of these kids that had nothing, that she said, Mom, they're wearing shoes to school in the winter. She was going out and buying shoes for them. She was buying coats for them. And they're struggling too up there. But she's so loving towards children and always was all her life. And again, March baby, March 11th.
Yeah, that was my mom's birthday.
March 11th, and then Elizabeth is March 29th, and Katie's a Leo, the one that got her master, one that's going for her master's now. She's a Leo in 86, so I got, and right, and they're all now, is that they're all powerful, and they're going. They went straight into the roles that they're going to be changing.
Wow,
I saw it happen, and I didn't direct them in their directions. They went in their own directions and did what they felt they needed to do. But to go that high and get your master's right off the bat, I mean, there was no questioning it. That's, as soon as they started, they're like, yeah, I'm going for my master's. I'm like, what? Really? How hard is that going to be? Don't worry about it. So I'm very, very proud of them right now. And going back to the generations and the names of the generations and the power that the kids are going to have to come in. It's going to be amazing. They're going to change the world.
I hope so. I find myself feeling a little skeptical that anybody can go into like a poison system and change it from the inside. But I'd like to hope and be optimistic, because
though, right?
Yes.
I heard a saying yesterday, Rome wasn't built in a day and it's still being built.
That's right. But yeah, no kidding.
Oh, right?
Are you seeing signs of it starting to break down now? Because I am.
Yes.
You know, I've seen several like court cases coming up, and they say with likes of people like Monsanto, you know, and it's all coming out now of just what damage they've been causing to everybody. And so it, you know, it and that seems to be speeding up. I mean, I'm seeing more and more things popping up all the time that are saying, you know, we're not doing this anymore. And I think there definitely is a generation of kids that are coming in that they're so connected, and it's beautiful. I've met a couple of my friends' children that are tiny, and my goodness, there's something special about them. You know, you can just...
You do sense it, don't you?
You can just see it. I mean, and they're just amazing. Yeah. And you know, and like a friend of mine, she's starting up things like a mother and preschool children. She's starting up a mindfulness and meditation group for that age bracket and things like that. You know,
nice.
Things are changing all the time, and people are starting to do things that are more positive and from a more positive light. And slowly, I'm watching these bastards that have been controlling the system losing control, and I love it. I'm sat there going, oh, there's another one that's gone. Yeah, brilliant, great. Let's sort the next one out. You know, because enough is enough. We've been under this pressure and control system for too long. It is enough.
Enough is enough. But the age of Aquarius is coming in. The age of Aquarius is all. They had their power up until Pisces, right? The age of Pisces is no more. When the age of Aquarius comes in, they have to relinquish their power. It's not theirs anymore. It's now ours. And the stars dictate that, not us people.
Yeah.
But like I said, the energy from the planet affects our children. Now, when you're carrying a baby and that energy's coming in, don't think that that's not getting affected. The baby's getting affected.
Yeah.
So now that the age of Aquarius is coming in, I think it's 2021 that it's going to be full on. They're done.
Yeah.
And you can see it now.
Yeah, I see it happening all over the place. I'm seeing signs.
Yep.
Everywhere.
It's our turn.
It is our turn. I think, you know, very much is, you know, enough is enough. And we deserve to have things better, and couldn't everything be so much better?
There shouldn't be people that are suffering on this planet.
No,
this is not why we're here. They did that to us.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, and it could all. I mean, I've said for years, you know, things could be so different, and they should be so different. You know, and it is beautiful to start to see it happening. Not happening fast sometimes, but yeah.
Beautiful to see people accepting it for what it is, and doing the work and putting the work in to change it. Because that is the strongest energy that can change worlds. Right there, that's the energy you need to change worlds, and it's happening. And it just gives me so much.
Yeah, it gives you so much hope.
And I love it.
Yeah. I'm really happy to hear that, because I mean, I've been seeing that too. You know, you're seeing what I've been seeing more so lately is people and their experiences and how they're changing individually and how that's affecting groups and so on. And so like all of these things that I tend to watch, I'm noticing people taking more responsibility for, say, the mistakes in their life, or for their bad health, or for so important. And then, you know, I kind of liken life in a way to, like, if you're on a plane and they say to you, oh, if the oxygen mask drops, make sure you secure your own before you help someone else. I always kind of view it that way. Like, I have to get my shit together first, and then that will radiate out, and it will positively impact my animals, my husband, my friends, my show, everything. Right. And that kind of brings me back to what I was saying close to the beginning, when I said, you know, we are us loners are like pillars of light, you know, like Frank always says, I'm a pillar of light, you know. And I really think that we are. And if we were all just born in one place, you know, I don't think it would have the same sort of positive effect.
Everything has a reason. And
like where ley lines cross each other, that's where we're sitting, kind of idea, like, you know, and we're scattered.
You know, that's funny, because I am so close to one of the main ley lines.
Really?
Oh, you are?
Because I'm in the south of the UK, and you've got like the one of the main ley lines that goes through Stonehenge, and that goes all the way around the whole planet. I'm trying to think of some of the other places it goes through, and I'm totally like losing it at the moment. But I'm also close to a place called St Catherine's Hill, which is in a place called Winchester, and that has got the same ley line running through it. And that's only about sort of 5-6 miles up the road from me.
Wow.
There's a synchronicity here.
Place. We've done
Winchester.
Yeah, Winchester.
I went last night on the drive that we had. The road I went down was Winchester.
That's cool.
So there's a synchronicity there. That's funny. And Stonehenge, I've been wanting to visit Stonehenge all my life.
Stonehenge, I kind of, even though I'm not actually that far from Stonehenge, it's been so commercialized that I'm not that drawn to it. You know, because you can't get near the place properly.
What about Glastonbury?
Glastonbury's beautiful. And again, that's on the same ley line. And Avebury is another place that I really like. Avebury actually has a stone circle that actually goes around the entire village. It's huge, and it's a lot bigger than Stonehenge. And I we went down there a couple of years ago, and we did a talk with a lady called Maria Wheatley. She's written a couple of books. Her dad was very famous for doing a lot of work on dowsing and things like that. So that was an absolutely fascinating day.
What was the
Sorry?
name? The name of
Maria Wheatley.
Oh yes, okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's been on a couple of the TFR shows, I think. I can't remember who's had her on there, but I'm going back a couple of years now.
Yeah, I do remember hearing some of her stuff.
Yeah, she's an amazing lady, and it was beautiful to meet her, and to go round Avebury with her for the day was absolutely phenomenal.
That's
and
awesome.
She was teaching us all how to do dowsing and things like that, and it was great.
That's great. Do you do dowsing now yourself?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I am actually quite good at it. I found out that day that I was actually quite good at it. She's like, you're just a natural. She's like, you just picked it up, and she's like, it's just there. There's this rod just goes there.
I got some dowsing rods I've been using. I bought some off the internet. So I use them for, like, I'd ask questions and I get my yes and no answers.
Yeah.
So I have to calibrate them first, and sometimes they sit for a while on my shelf. But yeah, I've been having fun with them.
Yeah, I sort of pick them up and play with them every so often.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah,
I like playing with things like that.
What is that place near you, Sam? It's probably just called White Horse. It's got a big white horse on the side of a hill or whatever.
Yeah, I know what it is, but I can't think of exactly where it is. Down Somerset way, I think.
Okay, because that's a place where lots of crop circles happen, right?
Yeah, there's all around that area. There's been a lot of crop circles around Salisbury as well. Was another Salisbury Plain. There's been a lot of crop circles down there, and it's all right on my doorstep. And I've never actually gone to see any of them, but occasionally.
Oh my God!
I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah, we have driven past one or two, and we're like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
But they look a bit better in the air a lot of the time. When you're actually down on the ground, you don't really see that much in them.
Right.
I would think you'd get a lot of energy, especially being sensitive. I would think going to something like that would just be like, whoa, there's something happening here. I mean, okay, so what is your thought about what, I know there's probably a few crop circles that have been faked for whatever, rhyme or reason, but what do you think the bulk of them tend to be? How would you explain that to somebody? Or have you thought about it?
Yeah. I have thought about it. The crop circles, some of them are so intricate. I can't see how they can appear that quickly, because they literally appear overnight and be that intricate and have that much detail in it. I can't see how somebody can do that.
Yeah.
Like, there's been lots of people have been going around with boards and flattening things, but that would take a lot of coordination. So, but what causes it? I don't know. I haven't had any proof research, but
well, there was an incident, I want to say like in the 90s, where there was a castle, I think in Scotland, where someone had caught on film a couple of orbs actually like creating a crop circle.
It's online. You can find it. I've seen it.
And so my current thought is that obviously somebody or the machine itself, the construct itself, is doing that for I don't know what reason.
I heard it could be our government too.
And that too, and using energy devices or something like that. And I have to wonder, like, okay, so if the government is doing it, why are they doing it? And if the machine is doing it, why is it doing it? Like, for what purpose?
Look over here, so you don't see what's going on over there.
Yeah, maybe. But why? Sorry, go ahead.
It's just another distraction, I expect. It's like Laurie said, look over here and not over here.
Yeah, that's how I see everything now until I get proof otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
like
and
all the core.
I love crop circles. I've got them
Yeah,
all
me
sitting
too.
on my, I got pictures and pictures and pictures of them. I love them, but I'm not going to put my energy into it as far as I believe that these little orbs did it. Now I did see the footage, and I would love to believe that it's somebody trying to help us. At the same time, we have to help us. We have to help.
Exactly. That's what we're here for. That's what we've come here to do.
Yeah. And if we depend on somebody else, are we doing our job? I don't want to have to come back and fucking do this again.
No, I'm not coming back doing all that.
No. Me neither.
No.
But I have to wonder, potentially, who is making the crop circles? Maybe, potentially, at least some of them is our future selves after we've gotten all through this. And we're leaving little nuggets like to say, hey, we're here. Don't worry.
I would like to believe that.
Yeah. Because
sure.
I have a little more faith in that than I do like little gray men.
In thinking that, then I can put the intention out there to my my future self. Connect her and say, can you please put one on my front lawn to go with my
gargoyle?
My gargoyle.
Nice. Pythagoras.
That's my gargoyle, Sam, in my front yard.
Yeah, you weren't fooling us. We knew you were still in the office.
They come to the driveway, and that's what they see. They're like, yeah, we're good.
That is awesome. And
so yeah, so I would love to go. Actually, my husband said that I could go to Ireland. My daughter went to Ireland. I wasn't invited, and I got scared and backed out. It was going to be her and a couple of her girlfriends. Oh, FedEx is here.
I thought it was going to be a bee. Have you noticed that every episode now, Lorene tends to have a bee somewhere around her?
Yeah, I definitely.
Super weird. The last couple of episodes have been like that.
Yeah, one of the first posts I ever put in the Fearless group was about a bee.
Really?
So that's quite interesting. Yeah.
It's another synchronicity.
Yeah, it was. I was just having a bit of a moment in my of wanting to feel connected to my nan, and I asked for a sign, and the next minute I know I had this bumblebee join me in my workshop.
Awesome.
And I was trying to like shoo it out at the window, and it was getting really like agitated and annoyed with me. So I decided in the end, you know what, I'll sort my shit out and go ahead with my day, and you can sort your shit out and get on with your day. And so I just carried on doing what I was doing, and within about a minute or two, this bee found its own way out of the window. It didn't need my help whatsoever. And that message that I was told was basically is sometimes you've got to let other people sort their shit out because you can't do it for them.
Yeah,
that is so true.
So that's my synchronicity with the bee. That was one of my first ever posts in the Fearless group. So yeah,
that's a wonderful lesson, because I've definitely gone through that with a couple key people in my life the last couple of years, where it's like, okay, you don't take anything that I say seriously. You know, you're not listening to my journey, or you're trying to invalidate my journey, right? So it's like, okay, I love you so much, infinitely, divinely, that I gotta let you go, you know, and I'll go do my thing. And if at some point this is what happens with our paths, great. But if we gotta go off our separate ways, that's fine for now.
That's
the love is
too.
always there, you know? Yeah, because when you're apart, you can grow and then come back together and go, whoa. And I'm actually having this experience with a friend of mine right now in Ontario, who is coming to visit me in a couple of months, which is very exciting. But she and I have been friends since we were 17, 18 years old. I was 17, she was 18. And we actually did a movie together because we both used to do a lot of acting, and she used to be really in that. She'd go to auditions in Toronto and stuff. So that's how we met each other. We did there was a little film happening in our town. It was very small, no budget, you know. So we got together. And what's interesting is in the 5 years that I've lived here, her path hasn't come to where I have come. She's still kind of, of the machine mind sort of person, but she's an incredible person. And although that shouldn't be mutually exclusive, and she's an incredible person, but I've noticed certain things, like with her health, that has come to a place where it has for me as well, where we never used to value activity or exercise, or like even something as simple as going for a walk. Now we both really value it and view it as something that we need to prioritize. So like earlier when I was saying, something I've noticed the last few months is that people are starting to get their shit together. That's one of the examples that I can think of, is because this person was obese at one point too, and she was just like, I can't deal with this anymore. So she actually went in and got the surgery, to clamp the stomach or whatever, because she didn't feel she could do it any other way. And once that happened, the weight just started melting off of her, right? But now it's changed the way she eats, and she's not this person who's just like, oh, I'll just go through the A&W drive-through. Now she's this person that's like, I'll make something, I'll get something from the earth and I'll make it. And it's really cool, because we don't really converge on everything else. Like she's going through training right now to become a cop and all this other stuff. And
Wow.
So I'm just like, I really hope you can change things, because,
Wow.
that's why earlier I said to you guys, I was like, well, I don't know if someone can go in and be on the inside, because I that's something that I'm wrestling with myself, and also with this friend, because she's doing that and she wants to catch all the bad guys and stuff. And I'm like, I really, really hope that's what happens. I really hope you don't get corrupted by the machine while you're in there, in not so many words, because I can't really say those words to her without what we also talked about earlier is like the rebooting. But it's fascinating to me, because our paths have diverged, and now in some ways they've come back together. So that's just my long-winded way of saying I believe I agree with you, Sam. I go off on tangents, as I'm sure you already know.
That's fine.
Yeah. I missed the beginning of that, guys. Sorry.
So we were talking about, Sam had a synchronicity. The first post she ever made on Fearless was about a bee in her house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and how she realized, instead of shooing this bee out, get out of here, and being really it was like, okay, I'm just gonna go do my thing and you do your thing. And then the bee found its way out anyway. So it's like a great analogy for people, like disengaging and coming back
together. The last
two
shows Holly and I did, I was getting bees. They kept flying into the house.
Yeah.
So I was going along with a big a plastic cup that I drink out of. It's got like a screw on top. It's a kind of a cylinder. So I just kind of put that against the window. I wait for him to go inside, and then I hold it outside, and he flies out. Because I don't want them to die in the window. So I'll go wait to the other side of the house, and that's where they die.
Yeah.
So oh no, we need you guys. Please don't die.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're actually one of our plans was honeybees, and we're still going to be doing that in the next couple of years. Is honeybees. Awesome. Yeah, I might also, I've thought also about doing Angora rabbits and getting 4 and naming them after the Golden Girls. But I don't know, that's because sometimes I work with textiles and I do knit every day, so I'm just like, hey, if I could have Angora rabbit fur, because for them, it's not a process. It's not like I have to shear them or anything. It literally, a certain time of year, it literally just falls off of them, like how cats and dogs shed, So I'm really interested in that. But bees are after chickens, and now we got 32 of those. Well, bees are the next thing.
Speaking of getting hives and stuff, when the spring started, I started to get the magazines for like the Tractor Supply Company, and this is where I get all my bird feed. Oh, pretty kitty,
Louise.
So they for your horses and for your pigs and for your it's like a co-op, right?
Yeah.
So they advertised beehives this year, so you can actually buy a beehive and all the whole kit to get started.
It's wonderful.
Cool. So
I like that it's. I like that it's being made more available. Yeah. No, I don't. I'm not sure that you need a big area for bees. No? I think because they'll just go, but they'll come back. And it's something like a 5 kilometer.
I have a backyard that's fenced in, and I've got dogs. What if the dogs went by it?
I think it would be okay.
They wouldn't go after the dogs?
No, I don't think so. I don't think
No.
so. I mean, what about bees just in your yard drinking from
Well, when
flowers
they're
and stuff, right?
hive like that, though, if she were to go and like even knock it or something, because you know they wear those big suits to open up the things to get the honey out and stuff, right?
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
No?
No, there have been lots of people on YouTube that have put together videos of like, this is my homemade. So they build the hives themselves. They go out. Like I remember this one guy, he goes out and he checks on his bees every week or something,
And he
wearing
doesn't
no
wear-
shirt. No, he's shirtless and in shorts. And it's because he creates a connection with the bees.
Okay.
He spends time with them. You know, they get used to his voice and his energy and everything. And
Well,
and
that's
then
fine for us humans, but
yeah.
my last Weimaraner, she got bit by bees a couple times and she just swelled up.
Aww.
So, I thought we were gonna lose her, so she ended up on Benadryl, and we had to brush her into the vets and stuff. But I'm just worried about the dogs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think they'd be okay unless they have like a bee allergy. It might have just been that dog. You know,
Yeah,
like how some people just
I
are
don't want
allergic to bees.
I don't want to test.
No. But we're gonna get bees. I'll send you honey.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, it'd be really great. I mean, it'd be salt spring honey, but it'll still be amazing. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, this has been. I'm feeling this as a natural close. How do you girls feel about that? You
That
okay
feels
with
good.
that? Okay,
Yes.
I can go home now too, so this was perfect.
Yay! And you have your package.
Yes. Well, it's
wonderful.
gonna stop. I needed to order checks. I was out of checks, and I got to write. I got to do payroll on Friday. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey! I finished all your socks.
Oh, I need to send you some money.
I didn't specifically say that for that purpose. I'm actually just.
No, I know.
I'm excited. I finished your socks.
You reminded me. And
Yeah.
Sam, I want to get a hold of you. I want to get some stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh, your
Absolutely.
stuff is incredible.
So
Thank
you want
you.
me to get a hold of you on Fearless? Like just message you there?
Yeah, or just message me privately and I'll sort it out.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll send you the links to my shop and my my Facebook page and stuff as well.
Okay, that would be good. That would be good.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
go from
send that to. Well, yeah, you can send it to either one of us. I put the
Yeah,
videos
Holly
up,
too. Yeah.
but.
Do you put your site on the Fearless page too? Do you put it on there too, or just do you have it on your own page?
I just have it on my own page.
Okay, well, you should probably post it on the Fearless page too.
I know.
You know, we're all psychedelic humans on that side.
I know. I think there's been part of me for a little while that's I've not actively gone and looked for a huge amount of work because I really was wiped out. But now I'm starting to get back into it and wanting to again. So
yeah,
I need to, like, my Facebook page and everything's been a little bit neglected.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting.
Well, it looks good. I mean, it looks good. I saw.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to show everybody what she does. She just sits on your lap and kisses.
Yeah.
Over and over.
My little cat. She used to do that.
Aww.
Louise is a little teddy bear. She'll when she's feeling a little bit more lovable, she'll wrap her like big bear paws around my and just put her nails in and lick. Yeah. And holy moly, you need to see her on fresh catnip because I'm growing some catnip and I've been bringing in little leaves and like teeny tiny leaf, like nothing, and just breaking it up into tiny little pieces and feeding them to her. She loses her fucking mind. Like she just jumps off the deep end. It's crazy.
You
like
need
she's
to
lovable.
Take a video.
I know. I think next time I will because
yes,
it's really
post
funny.
It. I want to see
The first time I did it, she licked me so voraciously that she like literally coated my hand in like a thick coating of spit. She was just so into it. Like, oh, Mama, I love you so much. I gotta kiss you. She was losing her mind. It was wonderful. It was really funny. And then our other girl, well, we have two other girls, but our oldest girl, Josie, is just like, I'm not interested. She's not interested in catnip. Who's ever heard of a cat who didn't want to be around catnip? I don't get it. But Louise, yeah, something wrong
Tell
with her.
Josie to go meet her other pussycats. Remember that, Josie with the pussycats?
That was why I named her that.
Ah, there you go. Synchronicity. Okay, guys, I'm going to head out. So thank you so much, Sam. It was really nice
thank you,
to meet
Sam.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been brilliant.
If you'd like to come on again. Exactly.
Okay. Willing. I mean, we're kind of crazy, but
we can be,
yeah, but you're my kind of crazy, so it's okay.
Yeah. Mahalo. Thank you, Laureen.
Thank you, Holly. You made me feel so much better.
Oh, ditto, kiddo. Like I was just like passing out before, and then we started, and I was just like, all right, okay, just keep going with it. And then
Sam's energy just brought me up. So I appreciate that. Thank you. I love you guys. And
love you. Yes, I love you, Sam. I love you, Laureen.
And we'll talk further on Facebook now that we can have a visual of each other in our minds.
Yeah.
We're typing away. We know.
And is your hair kind of green? Like mermaid green? Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's like for a couple. I'm actually growing it out, so it's grey at the top, but yeah.
No, I'm super grey. It's fine. Yeah. I'm red and silver. That's what I got going on.
Over and out, chickie poos.
Thank you. Let's do this again very soon.
Bye, Sam.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.